Have you ever pondered the difference between worldly leadership and biblical leadership? It's a question that may seem simple at first glance, yet it unfurls into a fascinating dichotomy that shapes our societies, organizations, and personal lives. Worldly leadership often emphasizes power, control, and personal ambition. It's about leading from the front, asserting dominance and making decisions based on personal or corporate interests. On the other hand, biblical leadership paints a contrasting picture. It's rooted in humility, service, and putting others' needs before your own. It's a leadership style modeled by figures such as Moses and Jesus, who led with love, wisdom, and a sense of higher purpose. In this video, we'll delve deeper into these two perspectives, comparing and contrasting them, exploring their pros and cons, and discussing how they can be applied in the workplace. We'll also incorporate biblical verses, real-world examples, and intriguing statistics. As we venture into this exploration, let's keep an open mind and a receptive heart. Worldly leadership often emphasizes power, dominance, and control. It's a form of leadership that can be seen across various sectors in our society today, from the corporate world to the political arena. In the business sector, for example, worldly leaders are often characterized by their relentless pursuit of profit and growth. They tend to focus on competition, striving to outdo their rivals and be the first in line. This competitive spirit can fuel innovation and drive economic growth, but it can also lead to cutthroat environments where employees are seen as mere resources to be exploited for the company's gain. In the political realm, worldly leadership often manifests as power struggles and political maneuvering. Leaders may prioritize their own interests or the interests of their party over the welfare of the people they're supposed to serve. They may use their power to control and manipulate others, rather than to empower and uplift them. Worldly leadership is typically hierarchical. Those at the top have the power and make the decisions, while those at the bottom are expected to follow without question. This top-down approach can be efficient and effective in some situations, but it can also stifle creativity and discourage input from those lower down the chain. This kind of leadership is not inherently bad. In fact, it can be extremely effective in achieving certain goals. A strong, decisive leader can guide a company to financial success or steer a country through a crisis. But worldly leadership, with its emphasis on self-interest, competition, and hierarchy, often lacks a spiritual or moral compass. Without a guiding moral or ethical principle, leaders can lose sight of what's truly important. They may focus so much on achieving their own goals that they neglect the needs and well-being of those they lead. They may prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability. And in the absence of a strong moral compass, they may resort to unethical or even illegal practices to get ahead. While worldly leadership can be effective, it often lacks a spiritual or moral compass. It's a leadership style that can bring about great achievements, but it's also a style that can lead to great harm if not kept in check by a strong sense of ethics and responsibility. In contrast, biblical leadership is deeply rooted in servitude and love. This form of leadership is not about power, status, or commanding respect. Instead, it's about humility, service, and compassion. And it's these qualities that set biblical leaders apart. Let's dive deeper. The word leader may bring to mind someone in charge, someone at the top, but biblical leadership turns this concept upside down. It's about being the servant of all. In the book of Mark, chapter 10, verses 43 to 45, Jesus says, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." This passage is a profound illustration of leadership in the biblical sense. It conveys the idea that true greatness comes not from ruling over others, but from serving them. It's about putting others' needs before your own, and leading by example, not by command. And we see this exemplified in the lives of biblical figures. Jesus, the ultimate example of a biblical leader, lived a life of service, even to the point of sacrificing his life for humanity. Moses, another significant leader, was described as the humblest man on earth, leading the Israelites not with a heavy hand, but with patience and humility. These leaders were not seeking glory or power. They led with love and compassion, always seeking the best for those they led. They were not afraid to get their hands dirty, to step down from their positions of authority, to serve those they were leading. Biblical leadership also means leading with integrity, making decisions that are right, not just popular. It involves being faithful, even when no one is watching, and holding oneself accountable to a higher standard. So, when we talk about biblical leadership, we're talking about a radically different approach to leading. It's not about being the boss. It's about being the servant. It's not about climbing the ladder. It's about lifting others up. Biblical leadership, therefore, serves as a beacon of integrity and righteousness. Now that we have a basic understanding of both types of leadership, let's delve into a comparison. Worldly leadership often places a high value on success, achievement, and power. Leaders in this realm are typically assertive, ambitious, and driven. They strive to achieve their goals, often prioritizing the bottom line over the needs of their team. On the upside, this can lead to impressive results and high profits. On the downside, it can result in a toxic work environment and high staff turnover. Biblical leadership, on the other hand, emphasizes humility, service, and love. Leaders here take inspiration from verses like Mark 10, verse 43, where Jesus says, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant." These leaders prioritize the needs of their team and foster a supportive, caring environment. The strength here lies in the creation of a harmonious and motivated team. The potential weakness is that this approach may not be as aggressive in driving profits. Statistically, companies that foster a servant leadership style often see lower staff turnover and higher employee satisfaction. However, more aggressive, profit-driven companies can see faster growth and higher profits in the short term. In the workplace, a balance of both styles can be beneficial. A focus on achievement and results can drive a company forward, while a servant leadership approach can create a positive work environment and a dedicated, motivated team. Though different in approach, both forms of leadership have their unique strengths and weaknesses. In conclusion, the dichotomy between worldly and biblical leadership is a thought-provoking one. We've navigated through different perspectives, highlighting the pros and cons of both. Worldly leadership often prioritizes power and control, whereas biblical leadership emphasizes humility and servitude. It's essential to reflect on these insights, considering which leadership style aligns with your values and aspirations. The choice can profoundly impact your effectiveness as a leader in various settings. Remember, leadership is not about power, but about empowering others. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.